Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Forever United TV. Welcome back to your Saturday morning, 8 a.m. update show on everything going on with Manchester United. I was out last night at a presentation, and I didn't miss much, really, did I? The social media world didn't go into meltdown because people were overusing the word rejected, rejection, not accepted. Oh, my God. I was sent a few messages, as I was actually, funnily enough, making a speech on stage from a few people. Thank you, mods, who did do that, by the way. Have you seen this news, that news? A few people started asking me, actually, at the presentation, what's actually going on, Adam? What's happening with this? Look, it's quite simple, actually. We're going to go through the other news as well, and we're going to break this all down. But just to kickstart everything off, I'm just going to leave it with the words of Mr Romano himself and where this is actually at in his words. And then we're going to bring in all of my thoughts on this as well, and your thoughts in the live chats, and what is really happening with this. I think because here on Forever United TV, we're just going to put a realistic look on it rather than dramatise something that really isn't the case. So let's get started with this, first of all, with Romano.
But my understanding is not that Brentford rejected the bid and talks stopped. My understanding is that the conversations between Man United and Brentford for Bryan Mbeumo continue. So the two clubs are again in talks. The two clubs are trying to find a solution. Manchester United remain calm. Manchester United remain confident. Manchester United remain optimistic because the player, as I told you days ago, is giving total priority to Man United. Wants to go to Man United and told Brentford that he wants to go to Man United, as I told you a few days ago. So the position is very clear. He wants to wear red next season. Now Manchester United remain in active talks with Brentford to reach an agreement on the transfer fee. As of tonight, no agreement, but in the next days this conversation will continue. Man United will try to find a final solution for Bryan Mbeumo to join the club, but for sure, this story is still active, is still alive, is not over after a bid rejected or a proposal turned down. So relax and let's see what's going to happen.
Yep. Quite clearly, a bid hasn't been rejected. Manchester United's first proposal was rejected. I think it was quite clear on that one. Obviously, we were way below. We tested the waters. And then everybody knew that Manchester United were talking about this bid for Bryan Mbeumo. We were going to make sure that this second bid wasn't rejected. We was going to make sure that we hit the certain price. We gave Brentford everything they wanted up front in terms of the initial fee and what was paid. And then the add-ons were always going to be the problem. Brentford are squeezing out a couple of mil in add-ons to try and make this deal go above Matheus Cunha's of Wolves and what Manchester United did earlier on in this transfer window. That is it. And this is a normal negotiating process when a player is about to leave a club, a star player is about to leave a club who could actually give them their whole transfer budget for their whole rebuild season. A club that has just lost their captain, a club that has just lost their manager and is about to lose their leading goal scorer, and the complete unknown is about to happen. So if Brentford are trying to squeeze out a few more mil out of Manchester United just to help them recover from what has been an absolute onslaught of a summer so far for them, then good on him. I don't blame them for that. Manchester United will stand their ground. Brentford want to create a bidding war. They are opening this up for other clubs to come in. Spurs have actually come out and said that they haven't approached Brentford with any bid now. That has actually been said. So Brentford are trying to make this happen. But Bryan Mbeumo's stance, like Romano has said, like David Ornstein has said, like every single reputable journalist has said, Bryan Mbeumo's response every single time is that he wants Manchester United. So when you listen to Nate Salt from the Daily Mail, who ran the bidding war story, he's the one that said that Brentford are trying to get other clubs involved. But Bryan Mbeumo, again, like Ornstein, like Romano, has said that he wants to go to Manchester United. Romano there, he wants to wear the red shirt next season. He has made it clear to Brentford, and there is nothing going on behind the scenes. There is no arguments. There is no unrest between Brentford and Bryan Mbeumo. That has been written as well. He is very, very openly said to Brentford, this is my choice, this is where I want to go, I don't want to go anywhere else. This is why United are taking their time and making sure that they get the deal right. And transfers like this for this amount of money, and again, like talking about record fees for Brentford players here, we're not talking about a simple transfer like Norgard to Arsenal for 15 million, players that have actually got release clauses. Let's not forget, Matheus Cunha had a release clause. It was easy. he's contractually obliged to go with that, or Wolves are, if someone meets that release clause. But Brentford don't have a release clause for Bryan Mbeumo. They're still in quite a strong position where they are, because they can add another year onto his contract as well. So they're playing their side. United are playing theirs. Obviously, United have come to town. As we all know as Man United fans, when we do, everything goes up and everything seems to get complicated. I think with this one, the complexity of the add-ons is all that is there to deal with Manchester United right now. This is everything that is going on with this deal. This is everything that Manchester United are just trying to get finalised. Like Ornstein said, the bid is not enough. Not rejected. It's just not enough. Now, we know that the initial fee is there and that has been met. There are still medicals booked in at Manchester United. That's what I'm being told. Social media last night went into a bit of a meltdown from what I was reading anyway, and people calling people liars. I've seen different aggregate accounts going on at each other as well. It's a bit of a minefield when it comes to social media, and when stuff like this happens with Manchester United. Everybody just wants the deal done, and that's where we're actually at right now. It's just a little bit of impatience amongst a already, let's just say, angry Manchester United fan base because of where we're at as a football club, which is fair. I think that's where Manchester United fans are at. They're sick of this club being taken for a ride all of the time. Well, all we're doing is standing up to that and trying to get the best deal possible. And I think every single way you look at the situation with Bryan Mbeumo right now, it's just what we have got in place. There is a medical apparently booked. Alex Crook from TalkSport, Ben Jacobs from TalkSport, and everywhere else are saying that the medical is booked for this week. These are journalists that are paid to do their job. People are just arguing amongst themselves about who is the bigger journalist at the moment. Listen to him. You can listen to other journalists. Other journalists do have inside information on a lot of stuff going on. The Athletic haven't got everything right all of the time in different journalists. Honestly, has just sat back and waited for some definite, concrete information. And again, it's all come out last night that there is just some extras that need sorting for Bryan Mbeumo, and that's it. The talks will continue. Everybody's calm. It's just going to happen. And we don't have to laugh at Manchester United. We don't have to laugh at the situation or anything like that. I think what we should be doing here is looking at it and saying, we've been hit again. And another club trying to take advantage of Manchester United, but we're standing our ground. And we're absolutely calm in the situation. It will get sorted, and Manchester United will actually move forward and get this deal done. That's all we need to worry about. Bryan Mbeumo in a red shirt next season. In fact, I think he will be there in time for pre-season training still, is the word. And United will eventually get all of the minor details done and all the complexities done in this deal. We'll move forward, and Bryan Mbeumo will be with Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim is actually planning his season with both Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo. It's a calm situation from Manchester United side. That's all the words that are coming out right now. There is no drama. This is just what is expected. Except we get news 2 days later than most of the journalists, don't we? That's it. When it gets done, it usually comes out 1 or 2 days later with the news. And I think this is what's happening right now. Because we all knew that if the bid was rejected outright, we would have known straight away. Because that's what happened the first time when Ornstein reported it. That bid isn't enough, rejected, done. But this one has taken a little bit longer. Because we've known at Manchester United, and everyone's been moaning about Manchester United taking their time and not getting a deal done. It's too slow. I mean, yeah, you could argue that point if you want to, but you have to just look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture is he going to be in for pre-season and for the start of the season? Yes, that's it. And there's nothing to be, I don't think there's anything to be worried about at all. I think people are making a big deal out of something that isn't there. So when we look at how Manchester United's season is going to pan out, I think the bigger concern for us all as United fans has to be the players that are leaving Manchester United. I think that's where the biggest concern is. I'm going to come into the chat straight away on this one to see how you all feel about it. And it's, again, actually, no, let's just get straight in there and get talking. And let's see what you've got. Because I want to open this up to everyone, how you feel from what happened last night. Are you worried? Are you concerned? Let's see what we've got in here. And first of all, with a super chat, time to set a deadline and stick to it or walk. I don't think it's like that. There is no deadline needed. As long as Bryan Mbeumo's a Man United player for the start of the season, we are fine. We are fine. I don't think we need to panic about the timescale of this. I don't think we need to put an actual deadline on it either. It's not been that long a saga, to be honest. Everyone is getting a little bit. Someone said this could actually turn into a Frankie de Jong saga. I mean, come on, that's pushing it a little bit, isn't it? Ray says, Adam, I understand that your level-headed approach, but it takes weeks and weeks to sign one player. Damn, other teams that would already sign Mbeumo and moved on to their fourth signing. No, mate, it's not. How long did it take at Liverpool to get Kirkes done? 5 bleeding weeks, mate. How long did it take them to get Wirtz done? Yes, about 4 weeks again. We are still into the 3-week mark here. This is how long transfers take. Look, Cunha, people can say Manchester United got done quite quick. We negotiated Cunha before the season ended. And then transfer window opened, bang, deal done. The likes of Mbeumo came because Manchester United didn't sign Liam Delap. And then we went on to our next target, who's a little bit more money than what Liam Delap was, and it's taken us a little bit longer. I won't panic. I don't think there's anything to panic or worry about at all. And that's just how I feel. So if anyone asks, like you did there politely, Ray, thank you. Understanding my level-headedness. Look, I know that everybody's not going to be the same as me and not stress and not get over, I just say, what's the word here? And not be overly confident about what's happening. You've seen it before with Manchester United. I get it. I do. Let's get some more. Brentford stated that the price is 70 million. No, they started at 70 million. It's not going to be 70 million. It isn't. The only problem is it's always raining in Scotland, so we don't get a roof down. Oh, sorry, wrong message there. Sorry about that one. United have been scammed in so many transfers, and only this season, they discover we have been scammed, but no more. Sorry, typo in there, mate, but I get the message. Look, it took us. How long did it take us to get Manuel Ugarte done last summer? Still got it done. It wasn't straightforward with Matthias de Ligt. We were bidding, to-ing and fro-ing with Bayern Munich. It took its time to get done and get over the line. Some transfers are more complicated than others. And like I said, the key thing I think everybody needs to remember in this is Brentford are entering the world of the unknown in the Premier League this season. No captain, no manager, no leading goal scorer and Mbeumo start. So they're just trying to maximise what they can. Look, they're a very, very well-run football club, Brentford. And I've got massive and massive of respect for them for just the way that they're doing this. That they are a club that obviously wants to get the best deal possible. They're trying, but the confidence at Manchester United side of things is that Bryan Mbeumo will sign for them, wants to sign for them. So stay calm. The deal will happen. And it is simply because Bryan Mbeumo wants Manchester United. That's all you need to be comfortable with, I feel. That's why I'm comfortable. That's all you need to be looking at in this situation until Manchester United back away. And we found out yesterday that Spurs were even in for Bryan Mbeumo. They've not even made a bid now, apparently. I don't know if that's backtracking, but that's the case again. So no chance of him going anywhere else. Morning, Adam. No worries from me. United willing to pay 62.5, but the problem is add-ons, 60 plus 2.5 in add-ons. It gets the deal done. Yeah, we'd known all along that Brentford's first initial fee, like the payment, the down payments, the big one at the start, that had to be substantial. That apparently has been agreed. What Brentford are asking for here is more in add-ons. They want more to get this price over the price that Matheus Cunha is. They keep on bringing up the Matheus Cunha transfer and they keep on reverting to that, and comparing it to that. So that's where the situation is. That's what they want. It's quite simple, to be honest. Manchester United have taken it as far as they can. They'll have to do a little bit more and then the deal's done. And I don't think it's slow. I really don't think it's slow. Manchester United are moving quite quick here with this one. I feel still. And I don't understand how people think that this is slow. I think because we're talking about it probably every day makes it sound like it's worse than what it is. But again, there'd be plenty of other fans in the Premier League that would want to be in Man United's situation so far this transfer window, I feel. Because we are quite ahead. We really are. Again, I will talk about the bigger issue here. It's the players that we're trying to sell. That's the problem at Manchester United. Transfers are so complex these days. Just be patient, guys. We'll get him. I feel Amorim is building something good here. Well said, Dean. Problem with De Ligt, Mazraoui and Agati is they came in too late and underprepared. No, I don't think so. They didn't come in too late. And people who think that these players need a pre-season, do you think that they're doing nothing? Do you think that they're doing nothing at all when it comes to pre-season? That if they're not signed for Manchester United or the club that they're going to, do you think they're doing nothing? They're training already. They are prepared. And let's not forget here, Bryan Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha both know this type of system anyway. And Bryan Mbeumo will be in time. I don't know why we're even bringing the De Ligt one into the situation. I'm just saying that some deals take longer to actually get done than others. I was just using that as an example. You could argue the point of him coming in late to our pre-season and preparations for the season. But let's not forget, Manuel Ugarte, Matthias de Ligt and Mazraoui alongside Leny Yoro and Xerxes came into a Ten Hag pre-season, which was pretty chaotic, awful in fact. And at Manchester United, I feel then we're stuck in the middle of an ownership just coming in, taking over, not knowing what to do with the manager. Pretty chaotic, to be honest. I think this is probably the most settled we've been going into a pre-season in years with what Ruben Amorim has got, what he knows. The players, like, honestly, right now, I'm looking forward to seeing what Ruben Amorim does with the players that we've already got. Like, the signings are going to be good. Signings will help Manchester United, but like we said before, Ruben Amorim, I think, is the man. I'm looking forward to seeing this super coach get into gear right now because I'm still expecting some of these players that we've actually got to get better. I think we need to look at that as well, like Ruben and what he does with what we've got. Like pre-season, time on the training ground, this is all he's gone on about since he's got at Manchester United, since he's arrived at Manchester United. So let's see what he does with the players we've actually got as well. And this is the key one as well. When we're talking about the midfield department here, and I keep on going on about Kobbie Mainoo, and I know it's probably boring right now in terms of what we could actually turn him into. We want to see new players. We want to see fresh faces. Why United not spending any money? Don't count out what Ruben can do with these current players already. What he can actually turn Joshua Xerxes into. What he can do with Kobbie Mainoo. That's one I am massively intrigued in. And what Ruben can do with him. Because he wants to stay, Kobbie Mainoo. We want him to stay. Ruben wants him to stay. Can we turn him into that midfielder? That's what we're looking at. I don't like it. I don't like changing players into something that they're not. But let's see if Kobbie's going to take this challenge on. And let's see. He's still young enough. That's the beauty of it. And I don't think he starts games. But maybe he can work his way in. Maybe he can work his way into a system where he can actually fit into that midfield. Maybe even in an 8 at times. Moving into a 10 role. If everything's rotating and the formations are constantly changing like Ruben says, then we could actually see a different type of Kobbie Mainoo next season. So that as well. Like on top of all the news that came out last night as well, there was a good one from Paul Hurst from the Times who was saying that Manchester United are going to buy 4 more players, want 4 more on top of Bryan Mbeumo. So Manchester United are signing 5 more players this window. That's what we should be talking about right now. That, I think, is massive for Manchester United fans to get their heads around because, like we just said then, like it takes a lot of time to get transfers done. They're complex and they are complicated, especially when it's Manchester United. We know this, don't we? So how are we signing 5 players, including Mbeumo? So 4 more after we get the Mbeumo one done. I'm looking at it like you. I'm like, right, okay. Like, where are we actually at with any of these other deals right now? I can only look at Victor Gyökeres, by the way. Oh, on Victor Gyökeres, everybody, by the way, Sesko apparently has agreed personal terms with Arsenal. So this has now got to a point where he has definitely not got the Arsenal option. So maybe we will see something start to develop over the coming weeks with Victor Gyökeres and the verdicts. Like I've said before, everyone going back to pre-season trading, but now that Sesko has agreed to personal terms, Arsenal still negotiating with Leipzig for the price, of course, but it does look like personal terms have agreed and they are going all in on Benjamin Sesko. So that could be interesting regarding the Victor Gyökeres situation. Let's get a few more chats in on everything that's going on. I'm opening it up to quite a few of you today, so make sure that you get them in. Deadline in terms of them driving the price up, says Ant. I got what you mean there, mate. Thank you, buddy. Thanks for the super chat. Jack Jones, thank you, mate. It says, morning, Adam. Oh, sorry, I've already read that one out. Rory says, would the team be better served by walking away, moving Bruno to 10 and buying an actual central midfielder? Well, no. They're not going to walk away for one, Rory. And two, the 10s are what Ruben looks at as the most important players in his system. And that's why he's getting Bryan Mbeumo. And let's not forget, like, Bryan Mbeumo does bring you goals, brings you creation. So if you are struggling to get the striker, at least you've got someone who's going to bring you goals on top of Matheus Cunha and Bruno Fernandes. I think he's got that there in Bryan Mbeumo. So I think that's covering the bases, I feel. You're still going to have more goals in your team, even if you don't sign a striker, because you've got Mbeumo and Cunha alongside Ahmad and Bruno Fernandes. I think he sees that there as like over half, since you've got 4 players there that have got goals galore in them and still not fixed the striker. If you can get the striker on top of that, then you're really talking. But Rory, to answer that one, buddy, I think it's a case of he wants Mbeumo in because he knows that he's versatile and can give him a couple of options up front as well. That's why he'll go all in on him. I don't think United would ever even think of walking away. Ruben wants Bryan Mbeumo. So to answer that one, buddy, I don't think it would serve us better, and I don't think we're going to allow it to get to that point anyway, mate. Ross with another super chat. Thank you, mate. Do you think Kobbie was a couple of steps slower last year as a residual effect of an injury? He has had a couple of bad injuries. He's still not played a full season in terms of games yet, Kobbie Mainoo. He's been in and around the club first team for 2 years now, and he's not actually managed to finish a full season yet. So could be a point there, Ross. You also say he just seemed a bit off all year. The pedigree is there, though. Have you seen, obviously we've seen the videos of Kobbie training and going through the motions. We've seen him training with Leny Yoro, putting in the extra work. You'd expect that to happen with players anyway. They're bleeding professionals. I mean, everybody slags off, including myself, Marcus Rashford, for his constant social media posts on training. That's what we expect him to do. I think I said this, and me and Kaz were discussing this yesterday. When I seen them videos of Kobbie Mainoo and Leny Yoro training together, it just, for me, I think it just looked... I felt differently about that than I did, say, watching a Rashford training video. It's not all about me. It's 2 young players. One that's just been brought in as a teenager from France in Leny Yoro, training with a Manchester United Academy graduate in Kobbie Mainoo. It just makes me feel a little bit more comfortable because it's Leny Yoro. I just think he's got his head more screwed on, and he's come in from overseas. I'm not saying Manchester United's academy are bringing through these bad attitude players all of the time, but I'd rather Kobbie be training with Leny Yoro than the others, if you know what I mean by that. I think Leny Yoro is going to be an outstanding player for Manchester United, and I think Kobbie's moving in the right areas. He's surrounding himself with better people. I really hope he signs that contract that United put on the table for him, because I do believe that Kobbie's ceiling hasn't been hit yet. There is something in that kid that I think we can release and we can get. I just hope that he understands where this club is at right now and looks at the other players in there, like Leny, who he's training with, who he's on 115,000 a week. Like Ahmad, who's on 120,000 a week. These are good first team players, young players, and Kobbie slots right in there with them. I feel. I think that's where his weight should be. I pray that he signs that deal, because that'll be a big signing for Manchester United. And that'll be a good, I think, standard line to keep as well. It's like you've got a young academy player that is doing well, that is now a household name in England and in Manchester, that is demanding big wages, and United managed to stop that happening at the first attempt. That's a big move for Manchester United. That's quite significant, I feel, as well, going forward. Keep your comments coming in, everybody. And Bumo is a Man United supporter. This is his dream move and not all about money. We need more players like him. That's why we're going to go all out for him and not walk away. Exactly that, Save the Jungle. Boxing Straight Talk. I think with Gyökeres, it would be hilarious if he has to play for Sporting next season. Look, he's going to have to at one point. I don't know. It's like nobody wants to sign him. Then what we're looking at here is, yeah, like you said, a really awkward situation, isn't it? He's not helped himself, Victor Gyökeres, in going on straight. He could have just been amicable. They must have really, really pissed him off for him to be in this position where he's not going back. And you know what? There's quite a few of the fan base that were looking at that situation with Gyökeres and saying, that's why I don't want him. That's why I don't want to bring him in. We don't need players like that at Manchester United. Are we not just bringing in another headache here? I would say, in terms of contracts, that's never going to happen with Manchester United with Victor Gyökeres. Obviously, he's going in at 27, and that contract that he gets at United will be him until he hits his 30s. And we're not going to have this sort of issue about him moving on and this fallout from Sporting that's happening now because he wants to move on to a bigger club. Obviously, he's at the bigger club, and his next contract will see him through into, like I said then, his early 30s, so he knows where he stands, I think, and that's where Manchester United are actually at right now. In terms of Jadon Sancho and other news that is happening right now, Romano, again, last night in the same video was talking of the situation with Jadon Sancho and the Fenerbahce situation. He said that the conversation is very, very calm with Fenerbahce. There is no offer on the table at the moment. They want Jadon Sancho, but he doesn't want to go there. And they're the only ones that can really afford his wages, like we said last night. Manchester United, in this position right now, I feel, would like him to go to Fenerbahce. They want him to go to a club that is going to pay the wages. Manchester United have made it clear as well in talks recently that they want his full wages covered. They want him gone. They're not going to contribute to Jadon Sancho's wages. So United are standing firm. It's a case of who is going to buckle first, really, in this. Again, this is what I like about United. I like the fact that we are actually standing our ground in all of these deals, whether it's a contract, whether it's a player being sold, or whether it's a player that we're actually bringing in. For example, there, Mbeumo coming in, Kobbie Mainoo's contract renewal, and Jadon Sancho leaving. 3 examples of Manchester United's management team there, and the structure of this football club completely transformed from what it used to be. As before, we would have opened up a situation here where we'd have been paying someone like Brian Mbeumo or Matheus Cunha over 250 grand a week wages. Before, we would have given Kobbie Mainoo 200 grand wages, pretty much like we did with Marcus Rashford. You've got examples there in both Toney in getting paid too much money, and Jadon Sancho being paid too much money, and Marcus Rashford being paid too much money. This, in what we're doing now, 20 times different, and a lot less and a lot more structured and sensible work from Manchester United. In terms of, obviously, selling a player, Anthony Elanga, 15 million. Is that not the perfect example of poor management for Manchester United? I think it is. I do. And that's what we're looking to avoid. But the situation, again, with Sancho at Fenerbahce looks like it's not going to happen. It's just the way that things are being talked about. That's why I would say that. It's at a stage now where it just looks like it's going to be Juventus. He wants the Juventus move. Manchester United, I've contacted Juventus again. That was yesterday. But we're not moving forward because Juventus cannot afford Jadon Sancho's wages. I don't know how we get around this. Manchester United don't want to drop the price. They feel like they have put the price in there for Sancho, and that's fair to subsidise the wages that Jadon Sancho wants, and other clubs should be able to afford them. Again, it's just a problem player at Manchester United causing a stink. And I honestly, when I look at it, I don't see when Jadon Sancho gets done. Obviously, it can change at any point. Manchester United can find a deal somewhere. Someone will pay Jadon Sancho his wages, or he will decide that the money is more important than the football side of things and go to Fenerbahce. Because, yeah, he wants to play in the top 5 leagues. Doesn't every player? Not a problem with that. But you are going to have to understand that this is not Premier League money anymore. 2 Premier League clubs don't want you. No other Premier League club has come in for you. And your only other options are the ones abroad. And you need to understand that they are not going to pay you that money. But then again, when his agent talks to him, you're still being contracted here for 250 grand a week. You don't need to move off this. Let's take a big signing on fee next summer and get a loan this summer. We'll dig our heels in and we'll keep saying no to everything that's put on the table. They're not going to help Manchester United out. Jadon Sancho will shaft us this summer, it's my opinion. If this changes, I will be delighted like everybody else. But I think Jadon Sancho is going to shaft Manchester United this summer. I've just prepared myself for it. I've actually given up on. I've lost hope in Jadon Sancho moving on a permanent deal completely because of what's been said. I was hoping that these noises from Juventus might have been the change, and you probably would have heard me being a bit more upbeat and confident about Jadon Sancho moving. The fact that United have had a bid accepted from 3 clubs gave me a big boost. But then I've seen what Jadon Sancho has done, and I've had to take a little step back, I'm afraid, on that one. And I do believe now that Jadon Sancho, well and truly, will get the better of Manchester United this summer. And he will just, as his agent is telling him, with every right, stop and just not move anywhere. He doesn't need to. It's up to Man United to move him on. And if United can only get a loan for him, then unfortunately for us, that will be it. It's Football Finance Excellence. Stefan Borson has been talking about what Manchester United would actually save with getting rid of certain players. So check this out. This is around the wages structure of Manchester United and what it's costing Manchester United. If Casemiro, Jadon Sancho, Anthony and Marcus Rashford were moved on this summer, it would save Manchester United, and this is just saving them in what it's costing them. So take out any transfer fee, and you are still saving 90 million quid if we got rid of all of them players. That's just if you take their wages away and their transfer fees away. 90 million quid that would save us. And we're not adding the transfer fees onto that either. It's just with them off the books with a clean break, 90 mil. That's how big it is. So you can imagine Manchester United right now, look, they feel calm about the whole situation and what's going on in this transfer window. Manchester United with the potential of selling players, yes, like we've just spoken about, but we could still loan players and save ourselves a fortune. An absolute fortune in terms of what United are paying. And again, a big, massive example of where Manchester United's management has gone completely down the Swanee and why everybody has got an issue with these players. I've seen so many people talking about Sancho and Rashford, the greed, the taking the club for a ride, like selfish, these words being used. I agree. I actually think that them words that's how I would describe these players. And they'll have their side of it. There's always 2 sides to every argument, of course, but the obvious is in front of everybody's eyes. It's all about the money. It is all about the money, apart from Anthony. Obviously, he's still on a decent wage, of course, but he just wants to play football. Anthony's backing himself. Rashford and Sancho are chasing the money. That's it, I feel. It is. It's all about the ego, I think, with Sancho and Marcus Rashford. You could probably say Garnacho to a certain degree as well with that one. But, with Sancho not going anywhere right now, and I'm fully prepared, like I just said, for Manchester United to have to accept a loan somewhere down the line. I think it's going to be right down at the end of the transfer bleeding window as well, which is going to really annoy people. Because all you're going to get now is the negative and the negativity coming through from a lot of this Man United fan base. Look, we've not managed to move Sancho on. We're still chasing Bryan Mbeumo. The deals are not done. Well, yeah, we're in a very, very difficult situation with all of these players at Manchester United right now. No other club has got what Manchester United are dealing with. And you cannot say that this is the current team, the current management team's fault. You cannot say that this is the same as what it was 5 years ago. Nothing changes. We never learn with these players what we're bringing in, trying to sell or anything like that to come that brings into the management side of things at this football club. You cannot compare it. It's 2 years in. This is the second summer, and they're just trying to fix the mess. So for us, it's frustrating, yes, as a fan base, but we have to give them the space and the time to actually get these deals done. It's not easy. And it's all right us slagging off Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho 1 week and then still trying to have a go at Manchester United. No, that's not fair, I don't think. Because everybody's all right saying that these players are being greedy, but you still want to blame Manchester United. Look, you can blame Manchester United from 3-4 years ago, that's fine. But you can't blame what's in there right now. Wilcox, Barada, Vival, all of these people working at Manchester United, Ruben Amorim, trying to sort these players out and get them ready for pre-season. It's not their fault that these players are not going anywhere. They've made They've made it clear what they think of these players. Rashford on loan, Antony on loan, Sancho on loan, Garnacho told he's out. They've made it very clear that they don't want them at this football club. But the players, from their side, they're just going to say, well, stuff you. We don't care that you don't want us here. We're still going to get what we think we're owed, which is a hell of a lot of money on that contract that we signed. And that's binding. And that's the problem that you've got. They're just going to keep saying no. So we know what the message is. We know what we want to do. It's just incredibly difficult to do it. Particularly with the room that the agents have got these days. My God. It's like they've run everything. It's crazy. I know I go on about that a lot, but they get away with absolute murder. They really do. And with a super chat again, thank you, mate. It's high time somebody pulls a Sancho aside and tells him, stay if you want, but you will be in the reserves and will not play. Your choice, Jaden. At this point, again, you would love that to happen. And that's what we all want. But we can't. Actually, can't is probably a strong word with that there, but we cannot do this with these players. We need to move them on. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do what we all want to do, which is bring new players in, and then everyone will pile in. So it's all right, everybody coming in and saying, let's just teach these players a lesson. I would love to do that. If we had a load of money elsewhere, I would love to do that, because I think they deserve it. And you're right, Ant, they definitely deserve it, mate. But there's not a chance in hell that Manchester United can afford to do it, and that's the reality right now. That's what we're dealing with. Did anybody have any opinions on the Edison story that we was talking about yesterday? Because Manchester United wanting 4 more players after Brian and Bumo is a goalkeeper, a wing-back, a midfielder and a striker. I know that for definite, looking at everything that everybody said. So, and Bumo comes in and then they want 4 more. So the right wing-back, they want the central midfielder, they want a goalkeeper and they want the centre-forward. That is where Manchester United's targets are. Now, like I just said then, you can free up 90 million. Even if you loan Casemiro, Rashford, Antony and Sancho out again, you're still saving a shed ton of money. Not as much as 90 million because you're still paying the instalments on the transfers. So I needed to make that clear. But you're still saving quite a lot. United would rather save 90 million because the transfer fees are gone. And obviously, the wages are gone. If you're loaning them, you're just losing the wages, obviously. And you're saving not as much. But there are 2 sections to this for Manchester United when it comes to what we can actually bring in for players. There is what we can sell, which is great. And then the plan B is loaning and what we save there. And that determines what comes through the door next season. Because let's not forget, like I've said many times before, if Sancho doesn't end up moving, we don't end up selling him. If... for instance, who else was I saying there? No, sorry, let me start that again. If Sancho doesn't go, Manchester United are definitely releasing him next season. He's gone. So his wages and his instalment payments are gone next season for sure. Same with Harry Maguire and his wages gone. Same with Casemiro, instalments and wages gone because PSR instalments run the length of the contract. So you are paying a payment in transfer fees every single season that player's got a contract. Harry Maguire's has run out because he's hit his 5th year, and now we've triggered the 6th, so that's just a bonus. Obviously, Casemiro's in his last year. Sancho's in his last year as well, so their transfer payments are gone for sure next summer, along with the wages, which is quite substantial. So next summer is a massive one for Manchester United, and I think this is worst-case scenario for us right now. I think if Sancho goes back out on loan and we lose him for nothing next summer. But then again, we are saving a big chunk next summer. Casemiro, obviously, we'll be saving a massive amount of money off him. 20 million plus alone in instalments and wages is huge for Casemiro when he goes for Manchester United. Harry Maguire, I'm sure Antony would have gone already. I think Rashford, well, another season on next summer after his loan this summer, I think will be significant also. So let's just see how that develops regarding the loans with Jadon Sancho and whether United can get maybe a fee and all of his wages covered. That's the only way I think Jadon Sancho leaves Manchester United, I think now. A loan fee and full wages covered. I think that's probably where Manchester United's negotiations are at right now. There has to be an acceptance that this is it. For instance, you get a loan fee of 10 million for Jadon Sancho and then his wages are gone. You still got 15 million for him this summer. There's no more wages to pay for Jadon Sancho. He's probably covering his last instalment there in terms of his transfer fee, and he's gone anyway. He's never going to play for Manchester United. I'll come back next summer because his contract's run out. That's probably a scenario United are discussing right now. A couple more super chats in from Adele. First of all, Garnacho, Sancho and Rashford need to have a stand with themselves and acknowledge they are not as good as they think they are. Unfortunately, the agents will blow smoke up their ass forever and a day and convince them that they are, mate, I'm afraid. And that's the sad truth, innit? It really is. Can see 2 or 3 of those for being youngsters. No, not counting youngsters either, mate. They're first-team players. That's what Man United are going for. We've already brought in a couple already. So we're not even counting them players. But no, we're still looking to bring in the 5 players, mate, and they're first-team big players. But that would probably force Sancho to accept lower wages. Otherwise, he is the master. I can't run a football club like that. I think Andrew was replying to somebody else there. Also, he wouldn't cost too much unless Atalanta tried ripping us off. But he wants out of Atalanta. Al Hilal and Atalanta was negotiating over him. Jack, that was regarding Ederson. The update on Ederson yesterday that I brought to everybody, and no one has picked up on this, but Ederson is Juventus' top target. And I did a video yesterday, the live show was talking about Manchester United's connection with Douglas Luiz. Juventus are trying to move Douglas Luiz away so they can bring Ederson in. What would you rather? It's just the same scenario as what we did last summer with PSG. Manchester United are interested in João Neves. But PSG want him. PSG sold us Regate so they could go and get João Neves. Juventus want to sell us Douglas Luiz so they can get Ederson. Honestly, I'd try and do what I could and buy Ederson instead of Douglas Luiz. I think that is something that a lot of fans have forgotten about, but that's the scenario again that's happening with Ederson right now. Manchester United want him, but Atalanta are driving a hard bargain again. And honestly, I'm sick of them more than anybody in terms of the prices that they're demanding for players. It has gone absolutely crazy this summer with what teams actually want for their players. It is a mad transfer market right now. Like Ekatike's price. What is that all about? That's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Manchester United, Newcastle and Tottenham have all been put off by Bournemouth's 70 million price tag for Antoine Semenyo. Again, proof what I just said. 70 million for Semenyo. No. Clubs can charge what they want, but they're just going to be stuck with players that don't want to be there. There has to be a realism and there has to be a realistic look on transfers. And this is why I think the transfer window will, indeed, drag out longer than what people want it to. Look, not everybody's got the money that Liverpool have got at their disposal to go and spend on someone like Wirtz, Kirkez, Frimpong, and then probably another striker. No one's got that money there to do because Liverpool didn't spend anything last summer, so they can go out and get the best. But I tell you what, you'll be pushed to find a better signing than Florian Wirtz this summer. He is an absolutely brilliant player, and Liverpool spent well with that money. I hate to say it, but they have done. Everyone else, I think, including Manchester United, we're just gonna have to wait it out. We have to wait it out. Adam, I just wonder who in their right mind would want Sancho if he leaves his wage too high. Just if he leaves his wage too high. I get that, Peter. Yeah, no one is the answer. He's forcing Manchester United to loan him and pay part of his wages so a club can have him, and then he gets a massive sign-on fee next summer. He'll accept the lower wages next summer because he's got that big sign-on fee because he's a free agent. That's his plan, mate. Nobody's going to pay Jadon Sancho's wages, I don't think. Nobody. He is forcing Manchester United to do it. Understand, Al Nassr have given the green light for John Duran exit, ready to accept a proposal from Fenerbahce. The story for Duran at Al Nassr can be over as clubs open and ready to let him. As the club is open and ready to let him go, I would take John Duran. I've been talking about this before. Fenerbahce are looking at John Duran right now as a striker. I don't think that's a bad shout for Manchester United. I think he would love to come back to the Premier League. Would anyone in the chat want John Duran in? We are having a Rashford and Sancho FUTV Buffet/Buffet. Buffet. when they are gone, we'll have a party as well, mate. Cheers, Jeff. But I like comments like that. They giggle me. But John Duran, there is a opportunity right there. If the situation isn't developing with Gyökeres the way we want it to, have we not got a powerful, strong, tall striker that has got proven quality ready to go in John Duran? Is there an avenue there that Manchester United can go down to get a better deal? Now, I've got no idea what Al Nassr wants for John Duran yet. I've got no idea at all what they're asking for, what the price is going to be or anything like that. I don't know what his wages are going to be because he would obviously be on absolutely astronomical money in Al Nassr, but it's one to watch, I think, that one. I do hope he comes back to the Premier League because he's a good player. I think United should be looking at that. I really do. But do tell me, everybody, would you go for John Duran? A super chat in from Adele again. KSA has sadly inflated the market. Speaking as an Arab, yeah. I do believe that things have changed. I'm just talking about John Duran then as well, in the way that the pricing of the players over there, it's like a get out for most European clubs. And then the players realise that they don't like it, and then they end up coming back. And then the Saudi clubs are trying to get as much money back again. And then these players have a taste for how much money. This is what I think. Like, I would honestly go in for him. I don't care if Fenerbahce feel like they've got a deal done or anything. I just think that it's a no-brainer. If Fenerbahce can afford John Duran, then Manchester United can afford him, or another Premier League club. I actually rated him at Villa. I was shocked when he went, and I really was. I didn't see that one coming. I was sceptical about Mbeumo after Cunha because the priority is still a central goal scorer. You could feasibly wait until next summer. No, I think it's important that we get. It's important that we actually get the striker in. I get that, but I think Mbeumo is a must. I think he just wants the characters in his team. He does. He does want the characters in his team. Could Fenerbahce be going in for John Duran instead of Sancho? Different player, centre forward to a winger. I don't know. I think Jose Mourinho is just looking to make a mark at the moment in the transfer window. And he is obviously, I feel, believing in tried and tested Premier League players. I think is the best way you could probably put that. Obviously going for Sancho and then looking at John Duran. And again, they've got a lot of ground to make up to Galatasaray. So, yep, I just feel like I think every club's missing something there. I'd take Duran on loan with an option to buy. Maybe we could make that happen. Just say to Al Nassr, look, there's a loan. We'll cover this. We'll cover this amount of wages, whatever it is. And then there's an option to buy him next season, maybe, to see how he does. See what Manchester United can do. I wish there was a loan market that Manchester United could really utilise. I'm looking around and I'm trying to think what players Manchester United could bring in. And I don't know. Just looking at it there again. It makes sense, doesn't it? It does make sense that someone would go in for him, but I'd love to know how much Fenerbahce, I'm just reading stuff there now, would love to know how much Fenerbahce would actually be paying for John Duran. That would be something. Because I feel like a lot of clubs will be feeling we've missed out. How can Fenerbahce afford him but the Prem can't? Someone surely has to come in for him. Characters, question mark. Ivan Toney, we missed a trick in my opinion. That was a simple one to make as well. I think Toney would have come in. I tell you what, we wouldn't be where we finished last season if we had Ivan Toney in our team. Definitely not. Brentford feeding off United desperation because they are a tiny club with an opportunity. They're taking whatever opportunity they can. Just to go back to the top story again, everybody, just to get your opinions in on that. By the way, thank you so much for all of the likes, everybody. Over 500 live likes. If you haven't already given the video a like and you're loving the content, please stick the thumbs up on the video, everyone. Bryan Mbeumo has not had a bid rejected. Manchester United have not had a bid rejected for Bryan Mbeumo. Fabrizio Romano's come out and pretty much said that in his video, saying it isn't a bid rejected. It's just talking over the last couple of mil. So calm down, don't worry is the word coming from Romano. Manchester United fans, Ornstein has said the same, Nate Salt said the same as well. The medical is still booked in for this week. I've been told that is definitely set. Brentford are just trying to get the last couple of mil out of this deal. They're trying to squeeze as much as they possibly can out, as any club in this position would do. And that is where we're at with that one. Exactly, and it would allow us to use the money elsewhere with a loan, says Daniel Luciano. You would loan in a striker as well, Daniel. I get it, makes sense. On loan would be a midfielder and a second striker when we move Rasmus on. Isn't Duran 21? We need some mentality monsters experience to kick the young ones into gear in the squad. Still, I think the loan makes sense for Duran for that reason, mate, Cliff. I think that's what we're looking at. And again, the loan has been an option. The loan has been an option, I think, with John Duran, and they were open to it. But I think, like the message I've just been sent there, that the desperation of Fenerbahce and Jose Mourinho wanting to make a splash in the transfer market is that they will probably make some crazy offer somehow and give John Duran a chance over there. So let's see how that one develops. Market value is at 45 million for Duran. Is there any other strikers out there that you would try and loan out? Because that's the problem. You want a good striker this season, but you're never going to be able to get a decent striker on loan. We've had over 30 subs alone just on this one video, everybody. So thank you again. Make sure that you have subscribed to the channel to make sure you're fully up to date with all of the information. Cheers for that, everyone. I didn't even notice that, but it has jumped up quite a bit there today. So thank you again. Alone again, naturally. Ant says, I'm still feeling that the longer Osimhen goes without a move, the more we will drop his wage. Demands. Ghana, the other way too, perhaps workable. Like I've said all along, if the transfer window drags on and things don't happen, don't think that is the end of the world. Look at it as an opportunity, because different deals that you thought you couldn't get done then start to become an option again. Like Osimhen, like Gyökeres. There are players out there that clubs are trying to sell. There are players out there, like Brentford can't haggle forever and a day. They've got to reinvest into their squad. And if they're waiting for Brian and Bumo money, they have to make this deal happen. United know this. United have still got just over a week before they head back into pre-season. United will take that week if necessary. It's not a problem for us. Other deals can get done. The longer you wait deals out doesn't mean that we're losing the actual deal. It just means that you're negotiating. It means that you are driving a hard bargain. And after a long negotiation, the deal is always a better one. And it's like Omar Barada said the other day. If we're negotiating and it's taking longer, then it means that we're getting a better deal. That's what it is. Yes, you could accept everything that the selling club wants straight away, but you could have got a better deal out of that and save yourself a few million. I think this will come down to how Manchester United structure everything as well. I think that's been agreed now. It is them add-ons. That's all that we're dealing with now. It's just the add-ons. Anyway, that pretty much is everything up to date. We'll see if there is any more developments today. Again, thank you last night. We didn't have the show last night. Good to have so many of you in on the show this morning already watching in. I was at a presentation last night. It was a great night. Kaz won the Golden Boot last night at Winton's Award ceremony. And it went down really well. I did have probably a bit too much to drink, to be honest, which is why I didn't do anything last night. But, of course... You've got to let your hair down sometime. And we are now completely back up to date. So, again, thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the super chats today as well, of which there has been plenty. I love that. Mods, great job in the chat as always. Don't forget to check out the links in the description as well. There is a link there for the shirts that I've been wearing recently. Great shirts as well, really cheap, all football club shirts. Go check that out on OK Jerseys as well. Check out the match bingo by scanning the QR code on the screen or clicking the link. More on that in this evening's show on the specials that's going on with that. And thank you all again. Please pop a like on the video, everybody. We're well over 600, which is mega. Cheers, everyone. And hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 90k. That's the target before we start the season, everybody. So please do get on top of that as well. And I'll see you all later on. Have a